Eagle has wings.
Roger. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh, that looks beautiful.
Over 50 years ago, on the 21st of July, 1969, Neil Armstrong took the first steps on the surface of the moon on the Apollo 11 mission. On December 14th, 1972, Apollo 17 left the moon with Commander Eugene Cernan stating,
And as we leave the moon and towards Littrell, we leave as we came, and God willing, as we shall return, with peace and hope for all mankind.
and thus we never returned. Until now, many organizations, agencies, and private companies are becoming increasingly interested in the idea of returning to the moon, not to visit and come back to Earth quickly, but to go to the moon to stay, and possibly even establish a permanent outpost on the lunar surface. New discoveries and technologies have made space exploration more affordable and sustainable. The moon is a gateway to Mars, the rest of the solar system, and mankind's future. This is why NASA began the Artemis program to send humans back to the lunar surface in this decade. The Artemis program has multiple components, and NASA won't be the only ones working on it. There are 3 primary Artemis missions. First off is Artemis 1, which will be an uncrewed test of NASA's Orion spacecraft, set to launch on August 29th of this year. The Orion spacecraft is designed for lunar travel in mind. It can house 2 to 6 crew members, and it can last for a very long duration undocked, with an independent power source in the form of solar panels. Second is Artemis 2, which will be the first time humans have left low Earth orbit since Apollo 17, and to be a crewed flyby of the moon. This will also be the first time that the Orion spacecraft is tested in deep space with humans on board. The Orion spacecraft has a smaller service module than the Apollo spacecraft. Third is Artemis 3, which will be a crewed lander set to land on the moon's south pole. NASA has selected SpaceX to use a modified Starship spacecraft. SpaceX is currently testing its Starship rockets. When completed, it would be the largest and most powerful rocket ever made, and will make the way for human exploration of the solar system. As seen in this illustration, the Starship is fairly large and can deliver a massive amount of cargo and crew to any lunar base. All of these missions may seem straightforward, just grab a rocket and point it at the moon. Well, not quite. NASA will be using a newly developed launch system, the Space Launch System, SLS. It's a massive rocket capable of sending humans to the lunar surface, and it will perform its maiden launch on August 29th of this year. SLS's components may look similar to another rocket you'll be familiar with, the Space Shuttle. SLS uses components derived from the Space Shuttle program, like an orange core stage, 2 solid rocket boosters, and RS-25 engines. SLS will have multiple variants, such as a cargo variant that can launch several tons to the moon for the construction of a new space station. Speaking of which, another component of the Artemis program is the Gateway Space Station, a small outpost in a highly elliptical orbit around the Earth and the Moon. It will serve as a scientific, logistical, and crew gateway for lunar exploration, hence the name. It's set to begin construction in November 2024, with the first of many modules being a power and propulsion module. Many space agencies around the world are set to contribute, like the European and Japanese space agencies, providing several key components. Unlike the ISS, Gateway is made to be autonomous, because it may not have any crew members at times, and it's much smaller than the soon-to-be retired ISS. SpaceX is also developing the Dragon XL, a variant of their Dragon spacecraft designed to deliver cargo to the Gateway space station. It's also been discovered by a multitude of spacecraft observations that the moon's south pole contains water ice that may be exploited to establish a permanent colony on the surface. How water ice can exist on the moon is that it's in permanently shadowed craters with no sunlight hitting it, and thus allowing water ice to stay solid. Currently, the primary target is a large crater on the south pole known as Shackleton Crater, which is thought to hold a large amount of water ice. Another thing found by spacecraft observations is the existence of lunar lava tubes, wide cave systems under the lunar surface. This may be a good place for a colony, not just because it looks cool, but also because it would provide shielding from radiation. Another idea is, instead of finding lava tubes and making an outpost there, instead you could collect lunar regolith and dump it on the lunar outpost. A third idea is to use 3D printing technology to produce a substance known as lunarcrete, basically concrete made from lunar material, which would be cheaper than delivering concrete from Earth to the moon. You could make large domes to protect against harmful radiation. The goal of Artemis is to stay on the moon and to expand our knowledge of space travel, and that's what humanity is good at, persevering against seemingly impossible tasks. The live stream for Artemis 1's launch is in the description down below. Make sure you subscribe and like this video if you are interested in what we're seeing. And anyways, have a good day. Bye!